PizzaHut.com. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Lakers basketball is a final.
877-710 ESPN.
It's the Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show.
Tipping off now.
Here's Alan Sliwa.
Lakers over the Oklahoma City Thunder, 120-101 the final score. Only one game left in the regular season. It's going to come this Sunday night in Denver. Lakers will tip off at 6:30. Pregame show will be 5 o'clock. And then this, obviously, the season will end from there. 32-49 on the season. The Thunder, 24-57. Obviously, two teams that had nothing to play for. And when I say nothing to play for, I'm referring from a standings perspective. And just look at the two teams. A lot of names that you wouldn't see getting this many minutes for the Lakers. You had 8 guys scoring double figures. Stanley Johnson led the way with 21 points and 8 rebounds. We're going to hear from Stanley Johnson in just a second. I do want to throw out the phone number, 877-710-ESPN, 877-710-ESPN, if you want to react to this game or just talk about the season as a whole, whatever Laker topic that you have. Plus, need a break from the everyday? Well, fans, it might be your lucky day because tonight, Fantasy Springs Resort Casino is giving away a 2-night stay plus dinner and golf or bowling for 2. Make any day your lucky day. Book now at FantasySpringsResort.com. Let's take a quick listen here. This is Stanley Johnson on the Lakers' 120-101 win over the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Guys, but so are you. I just wondered what the focus was and just trying to find a way to get some good feeling going for you guys, especially in this building after what's been a tough season.
I think we won the game, so that's what we play for, is to win games. So I'm happy. We're happy. We like winning. So easy as that.
Well balanced, a lot of guys, and I think you had 8 guys in double figures.
Yeah.
What did you see as the key? The ball moving around and just kind of guys engaging on both ends.
I mean, I think we played winning basketball tonight. We ended up winning the game. So I think at this point, we're fucking professional basketball players. Like, we want to win games. We want to be competitive, and we only can play with the guys who are out there. Had guys missing as well, so it was they played 6 guys. I didn't even know that, but they played 6 guys, and they have some good players over there. Guys that are trying to make their name, and they played hard, and I think we played hard. We moved the ball a lot. How many assists did we have today? I mean, only 17, 23, so almost 25, which is a decent amount of ball movement, which definitely helps. And get a couple guys playing more aggressive. It would be awesome to win the last 2 just to make us feel better about the summertime. But I think right now we're just, trying to get past the fatigue of, kind of not playing up to our capabilities this year.
Stanley, what emotions were summoned up for you playing the last home game of the season, and as you were referencing not playing up to the team, not playing up to its capabilities, but also for you personally being able to play for this franchise in this building as a Laker. What is the experience of this last home game like for you?
Man, it's definitely unfulfilling. Like, never in a million years did I imagine, especially when I got signed or even as just a fan of the team, that we'd be in this situation. Obviously, you make a plan and God laughs at you sometimes. So I think in the summertime, I think, we should all remember this. And if we don't like it, to do something about it. This summer we have an opportunity to get better at basketball as individuals and like it as a team all over the place. And if we don't like it next year, we'll have an opportunity to do something about it. So I think a lot of us are pretty mad about it. This is not, we don't deserve anything. We got what we deserved. But it hurt. It hurts for it to be our last game. It's not good.
How is that? I mean, does that feeling carry with you when you leave this building? Does that feeling just come up now and then about, you said, being mad?
Well, I just think the way we played and just the amount of, I don't know the right adjective to say on this one, but just everybody talking. They just talking, just like a lot of talk, just a lot of talk, a lot of shaming. Like, people love to kick you when you're down. That's like what people do. So, if you guys know what that is. I'm not gonna give them any more power and say anything like that, but people talk. So it's like, as a competitor, which, you talk and you back it up, man, good for you. Shake your hand, go home and get better. So that's what I know I intend to do. I think we all intend to do that and come back, and hopefully everybody has the same type of energy next year. I know it'll probably be a little different for us. So,
Stanley, because you guys were in the fight for so long, like every game was consequential from All-Star break onward, it felt like. Did you make a mental shift since the Phoenix game and start thinking about next year? And what was that process like? Because I imagine on some level you have to process what happened.
I just think, like, for the respect of the game and, like, what I signed up to do, as long as I'm in the season, I'm going to approach every game with obviously play a playoff game. Obviously, going to be a little more film study. We know the coaches, a lot more time to lock in on the teams. But if the guys that are playing are out there, we're playing. We're playing for keeps. So I think after the season, I know we'll have an iPad and we can watch all 82 back and see every minute we want to do all over and over again. And I think that's when it settles in. And then obviously, like, you have a part of player development that you want to do, but then, certain guys and, you have our X meetings and stuff. It would be things that our front office and our coaches want us to get better at, specifically to help the team. And those are things you have to incorporate. And I mean, from being with the Raptors for a long time, I understand how much, being around and being on one accord with your teammates in the summertime, even if you can't physically in the gym with them, means a lot and goes a long way. And as you guys see this year, without a lot of practice time and guys out, it's hard to put it together. So maybe in the summertime we can get together and, whatever the team decides to do with all of us, it's, more than anybody how this is going to go. But once everything's figured out, more time we can get together, learning each other and stuff, maybe before the season starts, I think that'll be helpful for all of us. But right now we're just trying to finish strong, focus on the game, putting out good effort. I'm really happy to get it a win on Fan Appreciation Day. They did a hell of a job this year rooting for us all the way down the stretch, even today. The Nuggets game, games that we needed, they were as live as any other fan, any other arena in the world that in the league thus far. So I was glad we can get a win and play a little harder on the night for them.
All right, that's Stanley Johnson right there. By the way, every time, it's not too common where we're gonna hear from a lot of players we don't usually. We already heard from Mason Jones, already heard from Wenyen Gabriel, and then Stanley Johnson on this one. Kind of refreshing to hear some new voices, give different perspective. A player that's not really guaranteed anything. You got to still kind of fight in your career. So good to hear from Stanley Johnson. When we come back, we'll take some of your phone calls. Plus, we'll get a chance to hear from Lakers head coach Frank Vogel. Stick around. This is the Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN.
With Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo, tacos or burgers?
Burgers.
Pineapple on pizza?
Sometimes.
Favorite cheat meal?
Pizza.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Favorite Saturday morning cartoon?
Kung Fu flicks.
Funniest player on the team?
Dwight.
Teammate who thinks he's the funniest player on the team?
Nobody really thinks they funny.
Your favorite superhero?
I'm a Captain America guy.
I mean, you got to match the initials too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a Captain America guy.
Hut Lakers postgame show.
Highlights from tonight's Lakers game and your reaction on the Lakers line. Powered by Pizza Hut. Try the new Detroit style from Pizza Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Hi, this is Anthony Davis of your Los Angeles Lakers.
Hi, it's LeBron. The Lakers play here.
It's time for Lakers postgame with Sliwa.
Now, here's Alan Sliwa.
Tonight's player of the game is presented by your Southern California Toyota dealers. We make it easy. I mentioned it a little bit earlier. Stanley Johnson led the way for the Lakers, 21 points. Also had 8 rebounds. 8 guys scoring double figures for the Lakers. Wendy and Gabriel had 16. Dwight and THT had 15 apiece. So you had a few guys obviously contributing for the Lakers. Before we go to Lakers head coach Frank Vogel, let's take a couple quick phone calls here. Let's go to George in San Gabriel Valley. What's going on, George?
You mean Joe? Joe from the Inland Empire?
Oh, my bad, Joe. Go ahead, Joe. What's going on, Joe?
George and Joe's kind of close. It's all good. But, yeah, tonight, I'll say tonight was like, if we wanted to be realistic Laker fans, tonight was like a glimpse into our future. If we want to really, like, be honest, I'm not sure if we can squeeze any more juice out of the orange with AD and LeBron. And if LeBron was seriously willing to consider going to Golden State, I'm willing to take Andrew Wiggins and Poole and Kuminga if they want LeBron. Like, I'm willing to start this thing all over and just put some fresh blood out there.
Joe, I appreciate you calling in. The Lakers have a very, very interesting offseason, and I personally don't see LeBron or Anthony Davis going anywhere. I think they got, obviously a lot of unanswered questions. We'll see how things shake out over the offseason. I don't know of another team that is going to figure out coaching staff, players, contracts, personnel. I mean, go up and down. The Lakers it's not like they're one piece away or one item they have to address in the offseason. So let's get through Sunday's game at Denver, and then I think we're really going to start trying to figure out what are the Lakers' top priorities, what are they going to do this offseason, will they have the ability to make a trade or potentially shop Russell Westbrook somewhere. I don't have the answer for it, but I think those are all going to be some of the questions that are still unanswered. Let me squeeze in another quick call here. George in San Gabriel Valley. George, you there, bud?
Hey, what's up? How are you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for calling in.
You know what? Just watching the game. Not the stars there. Just wanted to say it's good to see them, the G League guys and all that stuff. But I just wanted to say, how do you feel about the G League guys that were playing in the game?
So to be honest with you, and I appreciate you calling in, George. So Mason Jones is a good example. And even a lot of these other players are not guaranteed, this type of minutes in the NBA. So a little refreshing, right? You see some guys that are playing for their careers. You see some guys that aren't guaranteed minutes tomorrow or opportunities tomorrow. I think anytime you see a game like that, it's not ideal because you wish all the big guns were playing and you wish that the Lakers had something to play for, but it's the reality of where the Lakers are, so you can't really do anything about that. Okay, let's go to Lakers head coach Frank Vogel, get his thoughts on the Lakers' 19-point lead over the Thunder.
Frank, just on Stanley, as he walked out, he said, hopefully that he played well enough that he'll kind of be back here next year. Just wondering what you made of his season, how important it was when he first came in, the size and the kind of length he has on the wing, and then how would you evaluate him?
Yeah, obviously all the offseason questions will be answered in the offseason, but Stanley has really been, giving us a big lift this year. His toughness, how hard he plays, the physicality that he plays with, the hustle that he plays with, is something that this group really needed. And, obviously it's reflective in the role that he carved out for himself right away. When we signed him, he came in and, played a ton of minutes for us. And, obviously it was a big part of the win tonight. And, obviously, like I said, the offseason decisions will be made then, but he's made a case for himself for sure.
And just what stood out to you tonight about this game, Frank, and the balanced effort? And just
team win. 8 guys in double figures. we guarded finally, especially in the fourth quarter, held them 19 points. That's one of the things that we've, struggled with, while we were in this losing streak, not closing out games defensively. And our guys sat down and guarded and, got enough stops to secure the win.
Stanley was describing a feeling of just being mad about how the tail end of the season went and not living up to the team's potential. And I'm assuming there are other players on your team who might feel that way. Is that refreshing to hear that there are guys in your locker room who just aren't accepting what's happened so far and still want to compete out the rest of the year?
For sure. The care factor was high. We didn't win enough, but, this group, carried the proper edge when we didn't win, and brought it into the next game. We stayed fighting all the way down the stretch. We just didn't win enough, but the care factor was high. And, to hear that, someone wanted to just go out, myself included, said, I don't care if we're eliminated or not. Like, we've lost 8 straight games. It's time to get a W, and I was happy with how our group played.
Frank, you kind of just touched on that there, but I mean, can you describe just sort of the emotional impact of losing on somebody who is working so hard to win, and just what was that feeling like tonight to streamers come down to look at a happy crowd and a happy team, a feeling that you probably wish you guys had a lot more of this year?
Yeah, it was a good night. It was a fan appreciation night. Our fans were able to be treated to a W. All of our group, we had a lot of fun on the bench. We enjoyed the game. There's a lot of joy in basketball that really hasn't been with us a lot of this year because of what we were competing for and what we were falling short, too often with. So just a good night for our group to enjoy the game and enjoy W.
Frank, just a little bit bigger picture here, considering the impact Stanley's had since he came here, and we've all seen it. Is there something to be said about the stage of a player's career that would make him more likely to fit as a role player in terms of age, in terms of stature in the league, and what he provided, Wenyan provided, Austin provided, some of the younger guys that having guys like that are important in building out a program?
Well, absolutely. I mean, you want people to be able to come in and start in their roles. And, sometimes that means a veteran player that's taking a lesser role. Sometimes that means a rookie player that is like Austin, who comes in and, has a bright future ahead of him. But for this year's team, he's a role player. And I had Paul George as a rookie, and, he was the 5th scoring option on our team until Danny Granger went down, and then his role changed. So I think Stanley's in a place right now where, he went through his rookie contract, had some success, but, didn't the last couple of years, didn't, have a lot of success. And, for him to be in the minor leagues to start the season, have another chance to get back after it, and came in with a refreshed spirit, sometimes that's the best time, to get a guy who's really in his prime and can come in and, be a star as a role player, and because those guys are extremely valuable. When we had our championship run, we had several guys starring in their roles as role players. And I do see that, with Stanley Johnson.
With the way things have transpired the last week or so, you guys out of the playing game, what's been the benefit of having your coaching staff all stay together and put together game plans?
You mean just down the stretch here?
It's down the stretch here. Despite everything that's going on, knowing that you're not going to the playoff or the playing game, what's been the benefit of having the staff stick together?
Oh, you just honor the game. My staff has been amazing all year. It's been a very difficult season, and I've seen a lot of situations where, there's, internal turmoil because of the lack of winning. And our group has really stayed together. They stayed to the process of working with our players on development and integration and trying to get the pieces to fit together. And, my assistant coaching staff has done just a phenomenal job in a difficult season. So that hasn't changed. Once we got eliminated, we let our video guys have a little more responsibility with the scouts to help them develop. But, the work was, remained at a super high level. the preparation for these games has honestly been no different than the preparation for the first 79 or whatever it was. And it resulted in a win tonight.
Frank, you talked about the joy in basketball. Mason Jones went crashing into the front row twice. An opportunity that he probably wouldn't have had if you guys were where you thought you would be at this point in the season.
Right.
Just what did you kind of make of his opportunity, and what kind of joy do you take from seeing him get that moment?
That's one of the most fun parts of the job, is when you have a minor league guy that gets a call up at any point in the season. It could be early in the season because you have injuries, or in this situation here, those guys get an opportunity to play in the NBA games and contribute. He played 43 minutes last night, for South Bay. So he's coming in exhausted today. And, we threw him out there and he played really well. And he showed all the hustle and fight. Like, this is what, these guys' basketball journeys is all about, is opportunities like tonight. So there is a lot of joy in that. And I was happy for him to have the night that he had.
That is Lakers head coach Frank Vogel. We'll do this when we come back. I know we got a few phone calls, few calls lined up. Let's take some of your calls when we come back. If you're on hold, just stick around. 877-710-ESPN. We'll give our final thoughts on this Lakers win over the Oklahoma City Thunder. Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN.
With Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo, tacos or burgers?
Burgers.
Pineapple on pizza?
Sometimes.
Favorite cheat meal?
Pizza.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Favorite Saturday morning cartoon?
Kung Fu flicks.
Funniest player on the team?
Dwight.
Teammate who thinks he's the funniest player on the team?
Nobody really thinks they funny.
Your favorite superhero?
I'm a Captain America guy.
I mean, you got to match the initials too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a Captain America guy.
Untitled Lakers postgame show.
Highlights from tonight's Lakers game and your reaction on the Lakers line.
Try Pizza Hut's Double It Box. 2 medium, 1 topping pizzas, so they can choose what they want, and you get the taste you enjoy. Only at pizzahut.com.
Hi, this is Anthony Davis of your Los Angeles Lakers.
Hi, it's LeBron. The Lakers play here.
It's time for Lakers postgame with Sliwa.
Now, here's Alan Sliwa.
All right, Points in the Paint all season long is sponsored by Vista Paint. Right now, local residents can take 40% off on factory direct high-quality Vista Paint products. A Vista Paint team member will show you how. Locally owned, manufactured, and operated since 1956. Visit vistapaint.com. Thunder outscore the Lakers points in the paint 64-58. Lakers end up beating the Thunder 120-101. 1 game left in the regular season. Let me take a few calls here. I'll give our final thoughts. We'll call tonight. Kelvin in Crenshaw. Kelvin, what's going on, man? Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, and this is Kelvin from Compton. And Compton is known as the Big C. And I'm going to tell you this year, it's very disappointing. The Lakers suffered from a lack of seed. They did not care that they lost all of their preseason games. They were 0-6. They had no chemistry as a team. They had no consistency in either the starting lineups or the substitution patterns. They had no camaraderie as a team because they had no consistency in the lineups or in the starting rotation. They had no coaching, so they couldn't correct all those other seeds. And it's very confusing to be a Laker fan right now.
Kelvin, appreciate you calling in, man. Not really much to argue, to be honest with you. You know, every time I hear Laker fans kind of voice their opinion, they're upset, they're frustrated. How am I going to go against your thoughts and feelings on the season? I think a lot of people feel the same way. I feel the same way. Very frustrating season. To be sitting here today, and this is obviously the reality set in, what was that, on Tuesday played the Suns? I think it was on Tuesday. The reality set in earlier in the week that you're mathematically eliminated, but it was a frustrating season top to bottom. And don't tell me it was one thing or one play or anything along those lines. I think a lot of things certainly had their effect on this year, and unfortunately for the Lakers, it's not going to include a playoff run. Ken in Newport Beach. Ken, what's going on? Ken, you're on the Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show.
Hey, hi, Alan. First off, I want to say that your screener, Bunch, is a great guy, wonderful personality. I think he's got a real future in the business, and I like the guy a lot. Second thing is that what you do is not easy. I used to have my own radio show, and it's very difficult to go from the truth to the negative. Sometimes you'll want to be more negative, but you know you can't. And you do it better than anybody I've seen. Most people will defend and stay with the positive, but you know that that's not the earnest way. As far as this game is concerned, I don't know where Mason Jones has been all year, but the guy really looked good to me. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure why he was in the G League. He looked like the 5th or 6th or 7th best player the Lakers had all year. And as far as the players, next year the guys I want to see back, obviously, is Monk. Monk's got tremendous offensive talent, makes too many turnovers, but that could be controlled. I also think you've got to bring Reeves back. He's a smart player. He's a good defender, and he's going to get better. I like to see this guy, Mason Jones, back because he sure looked good. Then I flip-flop back and forth between Johnson and Gabriel. I think Gabriel's more of a banger. I think he's going to be better for the team. Now, THT, you know what? He's been around for 4 years. Today is like he really has been for 4 years, 4 for 16. Last night was an anomaly. I don't think you're going to see that. I think you got to take THT, and I think you got to take Nunn and try to make a trade with those two because they both have contracts that exist. Anyway, great job. Sorry the season went the way it is, but
appreciate it, Ken. It's all good. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate you calling in frequently on the postgame show. Let me sneak in one more quick call here. Byron in Crenshaw. Byron, what's going on?
How you doing? I agree with the previous caller. I also think there might be some more hidden treasures in the G League, and we'll have to find that out in the future. One thing, if you can't trade Westbrook, and I hadn't heard nobody say this, you may be able to waive him and give him 3 years of 16 each. That would give the Lakers some room to improve.
So one of the things, Byron, I'm gonna jump in real quick on that. You could stretch his contract over 3 years. You're basically hand-tying yourself to an extent for 3 years, right? So the organization has to make a decision, and I'm sure they're going to try to break out every possible option this offseason when it comes to Russell Westbrook. I don't know what the answer is. I've said this a couple different times. I don't know how you come back with the same 3. I really don't. I don't. It's very, very difficult for me to think that something's going to change next season if it's LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook. So what they do in the offseason, they got a ton of questions to figure out if one of those options is stretching him over 3 years. If you guys remember, they did that with Luol Deng. Deng was $15 million total, and it was $5 a year for 3 years. Russ is going to make $47 million next year. So, yeah, it would probably be around $16 million a year that you're stretching. That's not a small contract over 3 years. I would make the argument that it's not better to get this credit card, get 3 different credit cards, and have them stretched over a few years, where you can potentially pay the whole thing off in 1 year. But then you're also trying to weigh LeBron James, Anthony Davis, of course, the LBJ piece. He's already 37, and next year he's going to be going into his 20th season. They got a lot to figure out, so it's up to this Lakers front office to figure things out and try to put this franchise back into a competitive nature, and certainly that wasn't the case this year. Final score tonight, the Lakers over the Oklahoma City Thunder, 120-101. Our next broadcast will be the final broadcast of the season. It's coming up this Sunday in Denver versus the Denver Nuggets. Pregame show will start at 5. Tip-off set for 6:30. Couple quick thank yous here. Thank you to Michael Funches. Thank you to Rebecca Womble, Wilbert Flores, Laura Romo, Carlos Saisu, everybody internally here at the radio station. So appreciate everybody's help. Thank you to everybody that tuned into the broadcast, called into the show. You're watching on our social media platforms. I'm Alan Sliwa. This has been the Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN.
Thank you for listening to Lakers basketball tonight. Game 58 of the season is in the books.
Lakers basketball on ESPN LA is sponsored by Subaru of Glendale, the #1 Subaru dealer in America. Lakers basketball.
Delivered by the new Spicy Lovers Pizza from Pizza Hut. A fiery fusion with layers of flavor.